This is Alan Weinkrantz for DedicatedHosting.com. I'm here today with Clint Watson. Interesting title, Software Craftsman and Art Fanatic with Fine Art Studio Online. Clint, tell me about your title, because it really says a lot about your business.
Well, when I started my company, and I kind of fell into having a company almost by accident, because I started out creating websites for artists that I was friends with, and it sort of took off from there. I just abhorred the idea of calling myself something like president, CEO, you know, engineer, titles like that. So I just thought, what are the things I like to do? And the two things I've always loved, one is developing software, and the second thing is art. So I called myself Software Craftsman and Art Fanatic. And where I am now, I have a kind of a, I utilize multiple providers for redundancy. My main setup is a managed hosting setup with several big dedicated hardware servers. And I like that setup for my main setup because I like having big boxes with lots of beefy hardware behind my databases. I find even with you know, today the big buzzword is cloud and virtualization. I find having your databases on just big dedicated boxes gives you a lot better performance than running databases in a virtualized environment. On top of the managed hosting setup, I also, since we host a lot of art, that necessitates hosting a lot of JPEG images of the artwork. So I utilize a cloud provider for an infinite sort of scalable storage area to host all of those images and take that load off the main web servers. And occasionally we need to, you know, we may need excess capacity for certain reasons, or we want to experiment with some new feature that we don't want to burden our main boxes with. And in those instances we do use a cloud server environment, you know, a virtualized server environment where you can spin servers up and and shut them down, you know, very quickly and easily and inexpensively. If you go back to when I started it, I was a partner at an art gallery. Obviously, I had a physical location at that time. When I left the gallery and started doing this full time, I started working out of my house, and I thought, well, in a few months I'll set up an office, hire employees. You know, I had no concept that there might be a different way. But when the time came to start hiring people, I realized, well, if I spend the money for an office, I have all this rent, all this overhead, all this expense, and it seemed like every time I was at that point, I would think it makes more sense to my type of company to spend that money on another server. And in other words, if you're an online company, servers are your rent.
Oh, good point. Yeah, that's your real estate.
That's your real estate. So I get a lot more bang for the buck by renting another server.
Yeah.
So that has led me to the point where now I really don't want an office. I would rather continue to scale out virtually and rely on third-party companies as much as possible. So, you know, I do have some plans in the future. I would like to travel, perhaps live in Europe at least part of the year. And using things like managed hosting, where you have a team dedicated to watching your servers that isn't on your staff, allows you to do that. If I had my own co-located server, say downtown here in San Antonio, and the hard drive crashes, guess who's getting the page in the middle of the night to go replace the drive? Whereas I have actually, since I've been running this business, I've actually had a drive, I've been on vacation, had a drive crash, had the managed hosting team detect it, pull it out, hot swap a new drive into the RAID array, rebuild the drive, and send me an email that I get while I'm on vacation saying, we detected a problem, we fixed it, everything's fine, no need to worry.
Cool. So your URL?
The URL is faso.com, or you can also go to fineartstudioonline.com.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.